Hey guys, it is Shelly with AB Family Graphics. In this video, I am going to do my green blood drips for my Beetlejuice inspired tumbler. I am putting some green acrylic paint into my epoxy. I mix several different colors. It's not an exact science or formula. I just do a bunch of different greens and yellows, and I just kind of mix a little bit at a time. You don't want to add too much acrylic paint because then it throws off your epoxy. It could dry fast or your epoxy won't dry at all. It just changes the chemistry of your epoxy. The more stuff you add, the higher chance something's going to go wrong with the formula of your epoxy. A lot of different things can counteract with the mixture. So I just try to do a couple little squeezes at a time, and then I compare it to the color green on the cup. I don't want it the exact color green. I want it a little different so it doesn't blend into the tumbler. I am now getting glow powder out of my glitters. These are not all my glitters. They're just some glitters that I have on hand that I use frequently, and they're in a basket on my wall. I put a little bit of glow powder in. Again, you don't want to put too much things in your epoxy too quickly because it could throw off the formula. So I mix a little bit in at a time, and then I get a black light and I test out to see if it glows, because I'm very, very particular about the quality of our cups. So the green glitter glows, and so does the green blood drips or green goo drips, whatever you would like to call them. So I test it. I did add later on, I did add some more glow powder to my mixture. I just cut that out just to save some time on this video. But I added just a pinch more and I mixed it. And now I'm making sure the glow powder fully mixes in with the mixture. You don't want chunks of powder in there. I am now prepping my workstation, my work area, with a couple of paper towels. It's very good to have paper towels on handy, especially if you're working with epoxy. This way you can reach and grab a paper towel really quickly without trying to pull it or rip it off of the paper towel roll. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, I'm drinking a sip of coffee. It's the morning, so forgive me. I'm setting up my camera, making sure it looks good. It's very hard to get everything in frame, but I have learned to start trying to get everything into the frame. I know some of my videos are a little harder to watch because my cup isn't always in shot of the frame. I'm sorry, I'm a little wonky. It's kind of hard to do these voiceovers. I'm getting better. I'm getting better. So it takes roughly hour and a half for this epoxy to sit in this cup to get thick enough. So every once in a while, I will just sit there and test it. And what I'm testing is to see how fast the epoxy drips off my popsicle stick. And I twirl it a lot because I want to see how quickly it runs. And this is going to show me how fast a drip is going to run on my cup. So here I am. I cut a lot of this out. I filmed it for the whole hour and a half. I know you guys do not want to see me for an hour and a half sitting there just playing with the popsicle stick and epoxy. So here I am just trying to scrape it, keep mixing it, seeing how quickly these drips are going to go down the cup, because you don't want them to run too far down the tumbler. And that is where I keep making my mistake. It's been a while since I've done these drips, and so I'm still trying to get back into the swing of things. And so there I am just trying to test my epoxy out. But the thicker the epoxy, the thicker your drips are going to be. The thinner the epoxy, the thinner your drips are going to be. I sped this up. Now for one, you can see some of the drips in the cup. Full disclaimer, I did do the drips once on this cup. I had done this cup once before a couple days ago, and I threw the whole cup away because I got frustrated. If you follow my vlog channel, I explain why. But I did do the drips once in this video, and it didn't work out. So I hurried up and cleaned it off. So this is my second attempt on this cup, and it's my fourth attempt total to try to do these drips. So here I am. I sped it up for you. I'm just rubbing it on the edge of the cup and letting it naturally drip. Now you'll see some of the green epoxy in the cup. I want to assure everybody, customers, anyone that orders from me, that will not be in your cup. That gets cleaned off during the last step. Most tumbler makers will get a little bit of acrylic paint, spray paint, or epoxy inside the tumbler. There are many how-to videos to get it off. You can use rubbing alcohol, an X-Acto knife, You can pull, sometimes the epoxy soft enough, you can just pull it out of the cup. But all of our tumblers get disinfected with 99% rubbing alcohol. Then they get hand washed in pure hot water and a Dawn dish soap, and they get packaged with gloves. So we disinfect everything, but we also encourage our customers, and when you order a tumbler from us, on our care instructions, we encourage customers to wash their cup before they use it. But all of that will be gone and clean and disinfected. So none of that gross stuff in the inside will be on your cup. But like I said, it's pretty normal. Most cup makers, do get some things in the tumbler. I'm a little bit of a messy crafter. I just like to perfect the drips, and sometimes that can, cause it to drip inside. But I assure you, it's all safe to use and utilize and drink out of once I go through the disinfecting process and cleaning it. Now, after I've put all the drips on the tumbler, the epoxy was a little bit thinner and runnier than I anticipated and that I would have liked, so I kind of rushed it a little bit. I should have waited just a smidge longer. And basically, the only thing it does is inconvenience me. I have to sit there longer and watch the drips, and I got to hold the cup upside down, right side up, upside down, and let the drips run up the cup and then run down the cup and run up the cup and run down. You get the point. So I'm sitting there flipping it upside down, just cleaning up the drips in case a little drip got wonky, or if it's, ran down too far. If it's still wet enough, I can take a popsicle stick or paper towel and rubbing alcohol, and I can clean up the drips so that you won't have a wonky drip. Obviously, these are handmade, so no two drips are going to look the exact same. No two tumblers are going to look the exact same because they're made by hand. But I do my best to try to make an aesthetically pleasing drip, whether that is a blood drip for our sleighing tumblers or a green goo blood drip for the Beetlejuice inspired tumbler. Any tumbler that has some type of drip to it, I try to make it aesthetically pleasing by manually fixing and cleaning up each individual drips with an X-Acto knife or rubbing alcohol or paper towel. Now with the X-Acto knife, what I'm doing is going around and I'm popping any air bubbles. Sometimes with the epoxy, when you put it on a cup, it will get air bubbles and it creates little circles and little holes. And if the air bubbles pop when the epoxy is too hardened or it's getting too hard, then you're going to have kind of like a hole in your drip. So what I do is with an X-Acto knife, just the little tip of the X-Acto knife, I pop the bubbles and then while it's still wet, and then the epoxy starts laying flat and kind of covers where that hole popped. But I go through the whole process of dripping the cup, and several times I have to go around with my X-Acto knife and pop any micro air bubbles. Because again, I know not everything's going to be 100% perfect when I make tumblers, but I like to try my best to get it as close to perfect as possible. That is why I keep redoing this tumbler, and that's why I'm late to launch it. Because of the fact that I wanted this tumbler to be perfect, even though I've made tons of these, but it's been a couple months since I've made cups. So I'm worried that I'm losing my craft, but we got back up after crying and getting upset and thinking I was never going to be a crafter or a tumbler maker again, and thought, what am I doing with my life? I contemplated all my life choices of opening up a small business. I just threw the cup away because my husband convinced me that the cup was cursed. And that is where we're at today, with just redoing that entire cup from scratch. And the drips, even though I had to do it twice on this cup, the drips relatively came out, I think, in my opinion, much better than the first time I tried it a couple days ago. So here I am, just flipping the cup back and forth, just trying to get these drips to not run too far. I think I started this around 11 and the drips finally got dry around 5 p.m. So I was sitting there from 11 to 5 back and forth. It was actually funny. One of my sons wanted something to eat, so I was like running to the kitchen, cooking, and running back to the living room to flip the cup. And, sometimes you have to, being a mom of 4 children, you have to multitask. And my husband is working, so I was running around doing the things and coming back and hurrying up and flipping the cup back and forth. But as you see, it's a lengthy process, and that's also the reason for the price of the tumblers, not only because of the materials that I have to use to make the cup and the time that it takes. It can be time consuming. It's hours, sometimes days to make one tumbler. So I'm flipping the cup back and forth to fix the drips, and here I am continuously trying to do that, it may not be entertaining. You've probably clicked off by now, but that's okay. Here I am just cleaning up my epoxy hands and my paint hands and just making sure that I don't have any of that epoxy anywhere, because it is so hard to get out of your clothing. It can stick to your clothes, and it gets like, it's impossible to wash out of anything. So there's the tumbler at the end. That's what the drips look like, and it's almost done drying, but that is what the cup looks like. And tomorrow we will put decals on, and I will film myself decaling the Beetlejuice inspired tumbler. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next crafting video. Bye guys.